Who or what would you be in your next life? Next time you go round the wheel, you might not get so lucky.
Avowed is like that friend who shows up at your door with a treasure chest of snacks and a wild idea for a night out. Exciting, unexpected, and packed with potential. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment, a company that knows a thing or two about crafting unforgettable adventures and wants you to do the same while trying not to trip over your own wizard robes. This game invites you into the fantastical realm of Aora. Should sound familiar to fans of Pillars of Eternity. I only played a little bit of the Pillars games, so I am not all that familiar with the connection to that game. If you thought exploring ancient ruins, casting spells, and slaying mythical beasts was purely a job for the brave, think again. Avowed presents a delightful blend of adventure and intrigue that kicks off faster than you can say. Founded in 2003, Obsidian Entertainment was created shortly before the closure of Black Isle Studios. They cut their teeth on sequels based on licensed properties like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Neverwinter Nights 2, Fallout New Vegas, which is considered by a lot of people the best Fallout game. I don't agree with that, but sure. Spin-off of the Pillars of Eternity, which became a huge success and saved the studio from closure. Obsidian has always had a knack for great storytelling that can pull you in like a moth to a flame. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, they hit you with a twist that makes you question everything. In the game, you feel like a detective solving the mystery of the Dream Scourge. I actually do this review without having 100% finished the game. Every now and then, I just want to do a review of a game that I think is really great. And of course, Avowed is that game. The story itself takes place in the Living Lands, a diverse region within the world of Aora. The Living Land features a range of environments from lush forests, arid deserts, to sprawling caves and valleys. Players assume the role of an envoy from the Adria Empire, tasked with investigating a mysterious plague known as the Dream Scourge. This plot reminds me a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, another huge game, which I haven't finished yet. But in that game, you're kind of doing a similar thing of trying to figure out disease has come from. And one of my only real issue, if I would even call it that, is how familiar this game feels in a good and bad way. Comparison to Skyrim, of course, huge to me personally as someone who's played the crap out of Skyrim, and it's one of my favorite games ever. So in one way, it's almost not fair to compare it to Skyrim because Skyrim's way more open in terms of what you can do. The similarities are just there, and to me it's just like The Outer Worlds, which was also a great game, but came out in 2019, and that was an excellent game too, but it was also just a lot like Fallout. This game is excellent, but it's also a lot like Elder Scrolls, specifically Skyrim, and yet it's missing a lot of options that those games have, but that's something I'm going to get into later on. The game is graphically eye-catching. It's like someone sprinkled eye candy all over the world. The landscapes are vast, beautiful, and filled with detail that makes you want to linger and take selfies. Whether you're wandering through sun-kissed meadows or exploring dark and dusty dungeons, the visuals create a sense of wonder, almost making you forget that you forgot to eat lunch while playing. We've all been there. You're starving, but you're like, I don't want to get up and make anything because this game is so stinking good. Imagine if your grandmother's beautiful tapestry came to life and had a whole bunch of cool spells and angry monsters to deal with. The world is sprawling and lush, filled with vibrant landscapes that will make you feel like you've stepped into a fantasy novel where even the trees are judging your life choices. And then there's the depth of exploration. Avowed is just not a game. It's a feast of lore and secrets waiting to be uncovered. The world is rich with history, much like the backstory of your favorite soap opera, minus the melodrama for the most part. You're given the freedom to chart your own course, whether that means becoming a benevolent hero, the scheming rogue, or the oops, I accidentally set my ally on fire kind of wizard. Maybe spellcasting should require a license? Just saying. One thing that I wasn't prepared for when playing the game was how much parkour is in it. They don't really show you much of that in the trailers, but it's actually really fun how you can climb up a lot of things that maybe you thought you couldn't climb up. In some games, they'll make it obvious that you can climb up a thing, and this game does that, like up a wall or something, but a lot of times it doesn't show you that you can, but if it looks high enough, you can hop onto it. So the amount of parkour is actually really surprising, and how quickly and smoothly you can traverse traverse around the world. Like all games, it opens with character customization, but is still a win with a buffet of choices for how you can approach the game. Like any other character customization, you can choose Arcane Scholar, Court Augur, Noble Scion, Vanguard Scout, and War Hero. I myself picked Vanguard Scout, and that involves a lot of bow and arrows in games, and I use it a lot. Dialogue options based on the kind of character that you picked and how high you've upgraded a specific part of that. It is kind of curious as how you only really have two choices for playing races in the games, elves and humans, and that's it. An interesting choice. Could be something that's connected to pillars, which I don't know enough about. Why are there only two choices, elves and humans? Why aren't there like orcs or animal type creatures? It's a little weird because it's lacking a lot of things that other games have. Are they doing that intentionally to make it more streamlined? Because this is definitely not a hundreds of hour type game where you can go around. I mean, you could wander. I'm wandering a lot myself. Instead of just directly doing a mission, I'll wander I'll be on the way to my little icon on the screen, go off the beaten path, or you'll always hear that little tingly sound that the treasures that are around will make. But whenever you hear it, there's something nearby that you can pick up from a dead body, chest. There's lots of chests all over the world that you can sometimes just straight up open. Sometimes you got a lockpick. One thing that I really wish this game has that is missing is a lockpick mechanic. Again, going back to Skyrim and Fallout, I really liked lockpicking and the way they developed it with turning one part and the other part until it actually gives and you can open it. And in this game, it doesn't do that, and it's kind of a shame. All you have to do is hold the X button if you're on Xbox like me. You hold the X button so you can unlock anything. So there's zero skill to unlocking stuff. Why would you pick a stealth character? You don't even need to use stealth to unlock shit. And you can blatantly steal things in front of people and no one will say anything. Voice acting is top notch. Bringing your companion's character's quirks to life and making you feel a bit more attached than you probably should. Some of these characters have more personality than someone you'd meet at a party. One of the highlights for me are the companions. I'm not sure if I've actually unlocked every companion yet, because right now where I'm in the game, I have Kai, Marius, Giada, and Yatzli. I'm sure like a lot of people, everyone loves Kai immediately because they're played by the same voice actor who played Garrus in the Mass Effect games. Anyone who's played Mass Effect games automatically loves Garrus. Everyone loves Garrus. So automatically you're going to love Kai just because he sounds just like Garrus. Yatzli as well is just fun. She's a fun little fuzzy character, but she's also great to have around in your party. She's kind of the one you always want in your party because she can help you unlock things behind hidden walls that only she can do. There's certain things that your companions can do for you. Kai can actually burn things for you, which becomes a little useless later on because when you have burning weapons or a spell book for fire, I find usefulness. Yatzli is the best one to have in your party at all times, to the actual real highlight of the game for me, which is the combat. Some of the best first-person RPG combat I've ever seen. You can also switch to third, which I forgot to mention, which I don't do. I mean, you can do it, but it looks weird and clunky just like it did in Skyrim, which is, again, why is it having issues for games that came out a million years ago. But combat is where things get really interesting. It's like attending a dance party where you can choose between a twirl and a solid uppercut. You can engage in magical mayhem with using a wand or a spell, or as they call them in the game, grimoires, or go full on melee. You can double fist two swords. The amount of options you have in terms of what you want in each hand are completely free and open, and I love that. You could have two spell books if you want. You could have two wands. You could have a gun and a wand, a gun and a spear, which is probably my favorite. Two loadouts, which I wish you could expand on. I want to have a melee loadout and a range loadout. Kind of wish I would just have my bow and arrow all the time, but sometimes you're up close. A bow and arrow is just not practical, so then you want to switch to your gun and your spear. I really love the gun and spear combo, even though with the gun you can't rapid fire like you would with a wand. It is a really great range weapon as well, in terms of the fact that you can fire that one off faster than any other range weapon in the game. The gun's really slow with reloading, especially if you have a rifle, which is a two-handed weapon. And I don't use any two-handed melee weapons. It feels like a waste to just have one weapon that's really slow, even though it's more powerful. I prefer to have one melee weapon. My other hand could be either a shield or a grimoire or a wand. I think having two melee weapons is kind of pointless. Just have one and then have a range, which is why I like the spear and gun combo a lot. Any melee weapon and a wand combo is also really great. The sheer amount of different combos you can have is kind of nuts. You can dodge with the A button, and I do that constantly, and then the game will slow down a little because you dodged perfectly. You can engage in magical mayhem or go full on melee. The way the spells are integrated makes you feel like a true sorcerer. To me, nothing feels as satisfying as when you have a gun in one hand and a spear in the other, and you're holding a little bit just to build it up, and then you blast someone in the face with the gun, and then you hit him with the spear. If you alternate, you don't have to reload. If you shoot the gun and then wait, you gotta reload, and it takes a time. But if you shoot, then hit him with the spear, and then shoot again, there's no reload. So that's a little gaming tip for you. Roller coaster. It's thrilling, but also slightly nauseating if you're not careful. At times, it can be slightly overwhelming with the amount of enemies coming at you. Of course, you also have your spells and your companions to help out. When you finally nail that perfect combo, you'll feel like Gandalf on a caffeine high, invincible and ready to take on the world.
You shall not pass!
With all the praise laid out like an exquisite banquet, I will admit there are a few bumps in this enchanted road. Sometimes the animations are a tad clunky. They almost feel like this is a game that was made 10 years ago. It's like watching a toddler trying to learn how to walk in wizard shoes. Adorable, but a little awkward. Even though the world is vast, there are moments where the pacing can feel a bit like being stuck in a traffic jam. But that just comes with if you're choosing to wander or not. Later on, you get a godlike power where it helps you run way faster. So I'll do that sometimes just to get from point A to B faster. It's sad to say that nowadays, almost all games have a bug. It comes with the territory, unfortunately. I have not experienced any game-breaking bugs just yet. My one biggest issue overall with the entire game is the map. I think the map is way too rudimentary. Like always, I will compare it to Skyrim. Considering that game came out in 2011, it's like 15 years old almost. It still has a better map. The overworld map, I mean, there is differences in terms of in Skyrim, you always have that one huge map of the entire world that you can jump to. And it's slightly 3D, which in the vanilla version, if you mod it, you can do all types of crap. But what really bugs me about the map is how awkward it is to keep having to go into it. And there's no option to go directly into the map, which I think is beyond stupid, considering games like RPGs, you're always in the map menu, and you're always in the inventory menu. I think their inventory menu is pretty nice and slick, but the map bugs me because you just can't simply go right into it. Press the menu button on the Xbox controller. In a lot of games, it'll default take you to the map, or you can just hold it. You can't do that in this game. I've even tried holding it just to see. Nothing happens. It's so irritating. So the only way to actually click in and out of the map is to be on the map when you close your menu. But then if you go over to another inventory screen and then close out and come back in, you'll still be in that screen and you'll have to click back over to the map. Games like this, when you're in menus a lot, it's part of how these games are. It gets really aggravating. How in the journal tab, if you're doing a quest, there's no option to just say, hey, click here to see where it is on the map. You have to like highlight it and then go over to the map and then zoom out. Every time you go to the map, you got to re-zoom out and see where it is. Again, those are options that have been in games for over 10 years. Like I said, Skyrim has the option. You're in the menu. It says, here's your quest. Click here to see where it is on the map. Lots of games have that. Or an option to go directly into the map. Those are just two glaring things that I find very bizarre that they're not here. Why isn't this here? This is a very simple, basic option that has been in games for years. Because it's pretty perfect beyond that. Even if it's super derivative, and I still don't feel it's all that original. And I'll constantly compare it to Skyrim because it's essentially that. It's a light version of Skyrim with more color in it. That's the best way to describe Avowed.
Ooh, good answer.
Avowed is an enchanting whirlwind of adventure that strikes a charming balance between magic, mayhem, and a dash of mischief. Whether you're a legendary hero or a complete newbie in the realm of fantasy, this game offers enough whimsy and intrigue to keep you Quote, it delivers a compelling mix of creativity, humor, and engaging gameplay that keeps you coming back for more. It's like binge watching a great series, and you just can't hit pause.
Interesting.
If you're looking for a fantasy adventure that's equal parts immersive and whimsical, grab your controller and step into the vibrant world of Avowed. Just don't forget to take a snack break or two because you might be in for a long haul. Final rating, 8.5 out of 10. Avowed is a spectacular game. It's only February, but already a really, truly excellent game coming from Xbox. Yes, at this moment right now, it is an Xbox exclusive. You can see it coming to Sony later on, but right now, it's only on Xbox and PC. Highly recommended. You can get it in Game Pass for the fee of a month, or you can buy it. Either way, and so far, it's the best game of 2025.
Stay out of trouble.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to keep gaming.